Welcome to Talent Takeover
Unfiltered.
When it comes to working hard and keeping it real, we know our shit. Self-care, happiness, inner peace, and time. I'm Brianna Rooney, and this is Taylor Bradley.
Hey, y'all.
And we have thrived in chaos and turned it into an art form. So Taylor, what are we doing here today?
We're here to give you a raw, under-the-hood view of all things recruiting and finally give credit where credit is due to a long underrated industry that's full of quote-unquote experts.
All right. Well, then let's take this show to the road. All right. Welcome to Talent Takeover Unfiltered. Taylor, how are you doing? I like the shimmy. We're coming in hot.
Yeah. Well, it's always a good day when we start our day with recording our podcast. So even if I'm like, it's early in the morning, I know I'm going to have it's going to set the tone for a great rest of the day for me doing this. So that's why I always give you a little something light.
Agreed. I'm almost wondering if we want to start recording these on Mondays. I'm like, could this really set our whole week into motion? So the audience, you guys listen on Tuesdays, but we actually record on Thursdays. Woohoo, a little inside scoop there.
Yeah.
And we're coming off our big 1 year. So how cool is that?
I'm kind of in shock by that still, like when they internally sent out that little, kind of like a plaque or little flyer looking one-page thing that had our downloads and number of listeners across what countries. It's never lost on me how amazing that is, and that we never, for something you never thought was going to be that. I still think I'm always just pleasantly surprised and humbled and excited, appreciative, and all these things. It's just, again, never lost on me that this is incredible that we're able to reach so many people.
I know. And then people that you don't even think of. I'm going to try to move my chair down here. I feel like I'm so big. Here we go. Whoop, there we go. Sorry.
That's a funny thing for our listeners to know about us. Like, we're always trying to figure this out because, fun fact about us, I'm really tall. And so my legs will be like up under the desk. I don't know what else to do. I can't get the chair any higher other than like place my legs on the desk and just like
probably. Well, since now they can watch us on the Millionaire YouTube channel, I'm sure they would like that. So
that might be a video for a whole nother channel.
But yeah. So I'm a lot shorter than Taylor, but in these things, I look quite large.
As you've been told.
Which someone has told me the other day, like, oh my God, I thought you were really large. I'm like, let's not use that tone, that language. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. I would have been like, so what makes you think that? Like,
I know.
Let's dig in there.
It was a guy. He was a guy. And like, if it was a woman, I'd like give her a hard time and I'd talk about it a little bit more, but it was just this guy who just didn't know any better. I
just don't think a woman would say that to you in the first place though.
True. Exactly. Cause we know better, but all right, let's get off that. We could go there for a while. What is today about? We're going to give advice to new grads. So yes, our channel is all about just the talent industry in general. We are recruiters. It's in our DNA. But we also like in that, and we don't get to help grads as much as, I think we would like, because we're normally, they bring recruiters in when people are like mid-level into their career, like companies in general want heavy hitters because getting grads is essentially a lot easier, right? They go to the career fairs and stuff like that. But I love that you brought this topic up because it's so relevant and it's so hard. And I would imagine if I was in school, which thank God I'm not, if I was in school, then I would think to myself, holy shit, the sky is falling. What am I going to do? Yeah. I just wasted these 4 years. I was barely coherent because I was drunk. Maybe that was just me, but it wasn't. But then you're getting out and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, and I think that obviously our listeners know that our approach is the unfiltered approach and the, saying shit that nobody says. And so I think even with our advice to new grads, it's very much aligned with like, this is not the shit that they're going to tell you to do in school. This is the shit that life taught us. And so I think that's, even if we don't have a ton of new grads that listen, I don't know what our demographic is there, but their parents may listen. And so this could be something that you want to share with your kids. And again, this is real life stuff. This is based on our own personal experiences and what we would, go back and tell ourselves if we could, I'm not going to say how many years ago, but what we'd go back and tell ourselves.
Well, we'll tell our kids. Naturally.
Well, and I know both of us already are telling our kids a lot of these things, but it's stuff that's like so completely different from what you were taught. You go to school, you get grades, you do all of these things, these boxes that you have to check, and then you're guaranteed success. And it's like, that's just not the case. And that's not the world that we live in now. And college isn't even the only route to go in now. I mean, so we're saying to new grads, but this could be high school, this could be college. It doesn't matter. It's applicable to both.
Trade school.
We made sure that it was applicable to anybody that's graduating, just new grads. right?
Love it.
So let's get right in. I know you're going to absolutely love this one. Number 1. So failure teaches you success. Fail faster, learn faster.
I love it. Just this morning, no joke, I told Diego, so we're doing this new map just so like we can have healthy choices, and it actually teaches the psychology of things. It's really great. So he's reading it, listens to it, stuff like that. And he asked me a question, and long story short, I was like, look, Diego, this is a hug. This is a failure hug. Give yourself a failure hug. It's like, because you're just going to keep doing it over and over and over again. And that's okay. So, anyways, but I love that. I mean, we talk about it a lot at work. We just came up with the Millionaire Mindset modules for people that are taking, the Millionaire Recruiter program, because if you are not sound up here, good luck.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. It's good luck.
Well, and I think a big part of this for me too is that and it's something that I had to learn, is that everybody fails. And that may sound crazy to people that I had to learn that, but when you're raised to be perfect, or if you do make a mistake or whatever, it's like the wrath comes down on you. So you're so start to feel like maybe it's just you, or I'm just fuck shit up all the time. I just fuck up. But it's like, no, everybody, it doesn't matter how, Elon Musk fucks things up. Everybody makes
every day.
Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone fails, and you're going to do it your whole entire life. And so don't be hard on yourself if you do. It's going to happen. I think for parents, that's a good thing to teach your kids is you're going to fail. Your kids are going to fail. It's not so much coming down on them if they do, but it's teaching them how to deal with failure, how to process failure, how to move on from failure, because it's going to continuously happen their whole lives.
Yeah. I was actually speaking of one of our students the other day, and I was like, look, anytime you fail, write down what you learned instead.
Yeah.
Don't think about all of that shit that just happened and why it didn't feel good. Just talk about what you learned from it. And that's it. Period. Done. Moving on.
Yeah. Reframe it in a positive sense. Yeah. And then number 2, so make yourself useful. If you own the skill, offer it. If you don't, learn it.
Okay. You just gave me the chills. I love that. That's all about paying it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Love
and
it.
And I think it's about living in your genius too. If you own the skill, offer it. If you don't, learn it.
Okay, so this is almost a separate podcast, because living in your genius, because we are told to be humble, no ego. We don't want egomaniacs over here. No one likes that shit. You guys are being assholes, stuff like that. But it's you have to own what you're really good at, and you have to feel like you're not bragging. You're not having a giant ego. It's just you freaking are good at it, and you should embrace it. And that's your own unique gift, and no one can take that away from you.
I love it. I love that one so much. I think that might actually end up being our broke to boss tip, because it's so good. But okay, number 3. So be inquisitive, ask questions, and take risks. It's always good to be a little uncomfortable. So stretch yourself, and your value will increase. I think that's, you say this all the time.
Goodies.
It is. Well, you say this all the time, even to our TMRP entrepreneurs, you're like, I'm going to get you comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think that is one of the biggest things that if I could go back and tell myself, I'm sure everybody has to take in high school, college, whatever. At some point you have to take a speech class, which woof, we all dread those.
I've never had to take that. That's crazy.
Well, it's awful.
I should have had to take that.
It's awful. And it's something that it's you hate in that moment. But as an adult, I'm that's the kind of stuff that we should really focus on, because every single thing, I can't think of a single job that doesn't require you to speak in front of people at some point, even or speak to other people or one other. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And then, stats show that the majority of people are uncomfortable with public speaking. So that's a good one that I'm okay, if I could go back and lean into where you're uncomfortable a little bit more, and it will pay off much later in life.
So then should you write down the things that you're uncomfortable with? Is that how you would attack that?
I think at my age, I know what I'm uncomfortable with at this point, but I think for a new grad, writing down the things that you're uncomfortable with, or maybe unsure about, or lack confidence in, and see what you can do to expand upon those skills to grow in that space. Like I said, public speaking is it's a big one for a lot of people, but there are a lot of jobs that require that you not only publicly speak, just have interactions. You have to be comfortable talking to people in any kind of job that you're in.
Yeah. And are you trying to have me go down my rabbit hole of fear with my speech coming up? I was just oh God.
No. I'm just kidding. That's some baptism by fire shit right there. You're about to just I mean, but I think it's great I think you're a good example of exactly what we're talking about here, that's a space, even though you're so comfortable talking in front of people, hosting trainings like you do, but getting up on a stage and speaking is something different. You know what I mean? And so you've been taking the steps to try to practice that. So we're literally practicing what we're preaching right now.
No, for sure. Yeah. I'm like wondering, I'm like, am I going to pull a Bambi? Am I going to like collapse? Like, are my legs going to be like, no, thank you, Brianna. Like, you're not doing this.
No, you got this. And you got it. But it's like, I think you thrive where you get nervous or because it doesn't happen to you that often. So it's like where you get nervous or where you get uncomfortable, I think you're going to thrive in those situations where some people might fall apart. You don't. So
thank you. By the way, I'm using our podcast right now for my therapy moment. I'm crossing my fingers.
You're welcome.
So thank you, listeners.
I'll send you a bill after.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to number 4. Ooh, everyone should know this. Leadership happens at every level. Lead from where you are to get where you want to be.
Let's say that one more time. That was great.
So leadership happens at every level. Lead from where you are to get where you want to be.
Yeah, I love that last line.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory of what that means, but I definitely think that this is something that kids can start applying even when haven't graduated yet. You know, you can apply it on teams if you're on, play sports. You can apply it with just doing the right thing and how you treat people. You know, I think being a leader is something that you have to decide you're going to be and do and live by for your entire life.
Yeah, no. And like that goes back to our leaders born or is it taught, which is its own separate, conversation. But I think that a lot of people really do struggle with this because they're like, no, I haven't done this before.
Yeah.
It's okay. You have to act like you have done it before. And you have to this is the confidence thing where, you're just uncomfortable, but you're moving forward because then once you get over it, you're over it. And you're like, oh, that wasn't so hard. And that's also kind of attaches to the genius thing. So I feel like this one is so heavy because it attached to almost every single thing that you brought up advice.
Yeah. And then, I mean, thinking about just how this has applied to us, like in our own lives of, the confidence and being uncomfortable, to give our listeners, I may or may have not have said this before, but I was nervous to do this podcast the first time because Brianna's very out there, does her videos, does YouTube. I don't put myself out there like that. So I was really nervous. She would give me shit about my preparation for this and how stressed I was and the docs and everything I prepared for this. And then now, over 50 episodes, been doing it a year later, it's just come so natural and it's something. So I'm living proof of I was really uncomfortable in this space and just leaned into it. And the more I did it, the more comfortable I got with it. And now, I feel completely at ease to, if I were to go on other podcasts, other people's podcasts, it's something that I was so uncomfortable in just a year ago. But in just doing it over and over again, it's like living proof that all you have to do is just lean into the space you're uncomfortable and you will get comfortable.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Stop thinking. I love it. Yeah. And you have come really far. Let's hold on. Let's do a quick little snappy for you because yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't my thing, but now I'm like, I can't imagine not doing it.
Dig it. Yeah.
And number 5, do the right thing, even if it's the hardest thing. Sounds really cheesy.
No, that's not cheesy. That's deep. Yeah.
It's deep, but I feel like to a new grad could sound really cheesy, but it's a mic drop thing. It's like, it's your character. It's how you want to be defined, obviously by your character, but how you approach situations in life is what defines your character. And I feel like if you always do the right thing or what you feel is the right thing, then I feel like you'll win. Even if it may not feel like it in that moment, you'll win,
Yeah. Now those are hard lessons. Those are lessons that will take time. So it's like, and you're not just gonna, it's not just an automatic habit. Even if you're normally like, hey, I'm a stand-up person, still some of those moments are going to be like, shit, what do I do? And you're going to have to weigh it and you're going to have to journal and you're going to have to really for me, I like to type things out and then reread it and then come back the next day and reread it again. I'm like, did I get that right? Are we good there? And I always like to think of what helps you sleep at night.
Yeah.
Exactly. What helps you look yourself in the mirror, and that's the hard shit. And that does define you. Oh, you're giving me the chills on that one.
Yeah. And it's like life isn't fair. And so you're going to make decisions that you could have maybe made a different decision, but it would have been the right one that maybe could have gotten you ahead momentarily. But I just truly feel like you lead a life and keep your character intact, like good things are going to happen. And so don't go down a negative path to try to just get ahead. Stick to doing what's right and what you know is right. And it may not be the right decision all the time, but as long as it's what you feel is right and you feel like you're doing the right thing, if it doesn't end up being the right thing, if it ends up you fucked up, then own it, apologize, do whatever you need to do and move forward. But I think as long as you still operate with the mentality of like, I did what I thought was right, like what my character would define as the right thing to do, what's right by people, you'll be fine. I think that's really good for our listeners to know.
I guess I'm thinking, so, I've never had the privilege of working in corporate, but I would imagine there's some stomping people on your way up that ladder.
Yeah. That's what I had in mind when I was saying that, is like the corporate politics are so fucking real that you can try to go down that path and you can try. And I've worked with a million people like that have made decisions that I'm like, you're just trying to step on anybody you can to get to a certain point. And it's really crazy, guys, to see where those individuals are at today. None of them are running, they're not Elon Musk. They're not billionaires. Well, because I think that the universe rewards people that do the right thing and do right by people. So,
amen, karma.
Exactly. All right. So number 6, genius invents, but teams get it done. Not everyone is a genius, but everyone can be a good team member.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I know. I'm like, because it was really hard to like the list.
Wow.
The list of advice to new grads, I had like 50 something. And so it was really hard for me to point out or pull out the ones that I was like, okay, these are the top ones. And there were so many good ones, but I'm like, these are, to keep it brief, here's ones that I'm like, you should apply to everything that will always help you in life, regardless of if you're, a 18-year-old new grad, 22-year-old new grad, or you're a 44-year-old new grad.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, not only is new grad, I mean, this is real shit. Like,
yeah. Number 7. Oh, I fucking love this one. You're entitled to exactly nothing except work hard every day and earning what you seek: money, title, happiness, etc. So I'm gonna say that one again. You're entitled to exactly nothing except work hard every day and earning what you seek: money, title, happiness, etc.
God.
I love that shit. Say that louder for the people in the back.
Oh man, you're probably upsetting some grads who got their cars at age 16 and their college paid for. You're not making them happy right now. The entitled is just real and massive.
Yeah.
And I know employers' eyes are wide open. Hiring managers' eyes are wide open when it comes to this. Yeah, you are entitled to nothing. I do not. So again, I've been a business owner for a really long time. So I get very frustrated with this notion. I have heard people complain, so like Microsoft just came out and said, hey, look, there's no raises this year. We're a little behind. There's no raises, but we're going to try to hold on, right? Like, we're not laying you guys off. It's just no raises. People are like up in arms about it. I'm like, what are you guys whining about? Like, do you understand? Like, do you understand anything at all?
Take a look around. Like, there's a person on our team that can attest to this. Me and this individual always say, we're just grateful to have a job. And so that's crazy, considering I've been in the corporate world. I've made this salary or that salary. And it's like, in today's world, I'm still very in tune with the market. It's still not lost on me that there are so many people that are without jobs. We are lucky to have a job. Those people, they're lucky to have a job right now. So if you have to not get a raise this year, some people can't even, they're not getting paychecks. They don't even know how they're going to feed their family. Like that, the entitlement that people have, and that's at every age,
every age.
Work for what you want. You know what I mean? And if you are one of those people, which we know they exist, nepotism is real. Like, there are people that are going to have things handed to them, but the reality is that's not the majority of people in the world. So you need to operate, you need to work under the mentality, I'm not entitled to anything.
Yeah, including like, hey, look, you got a fancy education, you're still not entitled to it. You're not entitled to whatever you thought you were going to go get. So yeah, you got to work hard, put your head down. But I think there's also, and maybe another podcast, but there's a difference between keeping your head down and then keep popping your head up, because you got to pay attention, but then you got to get back to work. Pay attention, get back to work.
Yeah, but you got to work just as hard as everybody else. Like, that's the thing, is like, you got to work. And like you said before, just because you graduated or have a degree or a fancy degree you're not entitled to anything. Yeah. Okay. So number 8, be curious and make learning a lifelong endeavor. We talk about that one a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. We talk about that one a lot. So I'll roll right into number 9, advocate for yourself, but retain a good dose of humility and gratitude. That one I love.
Yep, which we just kind of went over, but that's massive because, again, I was thinking, I didn't want to tangent, but I was thinking, hey, sometimes people do get taken advantage of. They get taken because they're really great at what they do. And then for some reason, they just landed at a company or with a leader that, just like, oh, great. Like this person will do this, 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 and I don't have to pay them more, So there's that definitely fine line between doing a badass job, paying attention to the market, but also not getting taken advantage of. But so you do have to raw for yourself,
You have to advocate without entitlement.
Yeah.
I think is a good way to
skill.
frame that out. Yeah. Advocate for
it.
yourself, but without also being an asshole to everybody. Because advocating for yourself doesn't mean be an asshole. Because as it said, retain a good dose of humility and gratitude when you advocate for yourself. But don't let yourself get run over. That's something. So there's a fine line, like you said, between advocating, having humility, feeling entitled. Like you got to be somewhere in the middle of like maybe some sort of entitlement because I've worked my ass off for this. So I'm going to advocate for this, but not feeling like walking in, you should have anything handed to you or, I deserve this or I deserve that, So, okay. Number 10, be an active listener and be coachable. Those that do this well will succeed greater than those who think they have all the answers themselves.
And we're done, guys. Yes. Being coachable is its own separate skill. And actually, it's almost something you should be putting on your transferable skills doc. That, by the way, we definitely do for you guys. So check out the station. But being coachable is strong. We actually don't talk about it that much, but it's its own separate skill.
And it's like a lot of people say they're coachable, but this just really chaps my ass. Like, don't put on your transferable skills doc or say, to somebody in an interview, you're coachable if you're not. And you're just going to get, I can't say what I was going to say, but you're going to get, you're going to get worked up if someone tries to coach you or you're going to take offense to it or like, don't say you're coachable is being able to take constructive criticism and being able to take feedback and not get, all hurt in your feelings about it.
Hurt. I think it's also asking for feedback and being very serious. Say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? And if at the end, and you're just like, okay, anyways, forget about that. No, it's like really wanting, you're digging deep in there,
Yeah. And I think asking is a good way to prove that you are coachable because even if you're not getting that feedback, therefore you've never had a chance to prove like I can take the constructive criticism. I think you made a great point of like, just take it one step further then and ask for that. And then you'll get that and people will see that that's okay. They truly do mean that. They truly do mean they're coachable. Okay, so I know we're coming up on time, so I think it's time to hit him with the broke to boss tip. So the broke to boss tip is network, nurture, notice. So network, it's never too early to start building your professional network. That is a huge one for new grads. Never too early. And then nurture, it's never too early to nurture your professional presence, to build your professional community. So set aside at least 15 minutes each week to focus on building your social presence. And then notice.
Your brand.
Your brand. The notice, take note of what's happening around you, of what trends you're seeing, of what other people are doing. Don't kind of, like we talked about earlier, you mentioned, don't be so heads down that you don't know what's going on around you. Be very aware, very present, and just stay kind of in tune with what's happening around you, whether that's internally in your company, in the market, whatever. Always take notice.
Always. And that goes to your asking questions. Yeah. Ask those hard questions. I think it was Tony Robbins that said something like this. That was like, you're only as good as the quality of your questions.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's a good one.
There we go.
Yep. Mic drop.
Got it. Nice. All right, new grads, definitely good luck in this process. You have to practice interviewing. You have to make sure you show up your authentic self with also, a twist of more professionalism, right? So you need help. We're here for you. Go on Thriversity. We can help you show up, and it's important. We practice on every single level, it doesn't matter how old. So when you're just entering, it's super important. So good luck. See you next Tuesday. Thanks all.
Thanks, y'all.
You want to check out the program. You ready? You're ready.